Well, Keith, obviously every game is huge now. You've come out of the Easter programme in an automatic promotion place, so you'd take that, wouldn't you? I mean, you had some really tough fixtures over Easter there.
Yeah, we should have probably done better. You know, I agree with most of my staff when we're analysing games that I think we've got to isolate the Cheltenham game. You know, it was something that I hadn't experienced before as a manager. So it's a learning opportunity. The result was poor. But when you look at the performance, even though it wasn't a winning performance, we still kept the lion's share of possession. We didn't penetrate with it. And on Monday against Cambridge, we did more than enough to win a game. We just need that second goal. And we had opportunities to score the second goal. And we've fallen foul of a refereeing decision. And I've looked at it and looked at it and looked at it. And it's a great clearance from Paul Lewis, and there's no contact. So we feel hard done by. But after the Easter weekend, for us to be in the position that we're in without getting the results that we wanted, obviously we're going to have to take it. The top two have got further away from us. That's the only disappointment from the weekend.
In a strange sort of way, though, Keith, can the players take a lot of optimism and confidence from the Cambridge performance, even though there was the frustration at only getting a point and in the manner it happened?
Yeah, performances will give you a good indicator of, winning football matches. But at this time of the season, performances, they're relatively unimportant. It's about the scoreboard now. And I've referred to the scoreboard in the past of being, sometimes it can be a false dawn. It sometimes can be, false in reflection to the way that the game's gone. But at this moment in time, if you're chasing promotion or you're avoiding relegation, the scoreboard's key.
Yeah, and just on the scoreboard and the table, we all know how tight it is at the top. But the interesting thing as well is the goal difference is very tight, not just the points. So, I mean, it's all about getting the win. But at the back of your mind, you're thinking we've got to take our chances. We may need to score more goals.
Well, you have to take your chances. And when I talk about chances, I'm talking about the 7 games that we've got coming up. We can't play the 7th game this weekend. We've got to play the first game in the row of 7. We're more than capable as a team, as a squad of players, of putting a run of wins together. We've done it over the course of the season. We've managed to win 18 games, and I'm quite sure that we can win football matches. We're very optimistic at the weekend. But everyone talks about it being the business end of the season. Business starts game 1, and I think, our season doesn't start in the last 7 games of the season. What we've done so far is put ourselves in a good position because of the games that we've won, the points that we've collected, and the games that we've, not lost. I mean, we've lost 11 games, I think. I think that's, I think that's as good as everybody in the league, barring the top 2. And I think even Cambridge have lost 11, but they played a game more. But I'm pleased with the progress that we've made. But we want to turn progress into the prize which every single one of us, the supporters, are really, really, really fighting for. Because it's been a very, very difficult season for the football club. If you look at the 12 months being demoted because of the points per game ratio, the season should have been completed. But it wasn't. So we're looking to achieve, on behalf of the supporters, our rightful place back in League One. And we've got 7 games to do it. We're in a really good position. And if the season was to fold for any particular reason, we are in the top 3. And that at this moment in time, constitutes promotion. But what I would say is I feel as though we've got away with it a little bit, with respect to the last 2 results. The performance on Monday was more like what I expected. But again, bearing in mind, I'll take Cheltenham totally out of the equation. I'm not ignorant. I'm not trying to, diminish any type of responsibility, but I want to put that one game in isolation. And I feel as though we're in good performance form. Now what we have to do is make sure that we are strong enough to maintain a clean sheet when we're winning 1-0. And we've done that twice over the last 2 games at home against Mansfield. We're we need to be stronger to be able to keep those clean sheets while we're not scoring the second goal.
And just finally from me, Keith, the next of those, or the first of those 7 games is Scunthorpe away, and they look as though they're safe. They might struggle to get in the playoffs now. So how does that affect any kind of challenge that you'll have from Scunthorpe?
There'll be a big challenge. There's a big challenge from ourselves to, repeat, perform, and be strong enough to go and get a result. I've been in a situation where Scunthorpe are in, and all you'll say as a manager is you're playing for your future, you're playing for the pride, you're playing for the supporters. Some players will be playing for a move, some players will be playing for a new contract, and they're playing for points. There's a pride from a manager, and it's got to be reflected, in performance. So they'll be pretty free, relaxed, and I know what you say with respect to being safe, but there'll be an unknown quantity with respect to the way that they play the game, but I'm expecting 100% professionalism from them. And we've just got to be at our very best. And we've got to make sure that we see it as an opportunity to relax in performance and express ourselves. And I don't want anybody tightening up. And, and it's important, the psychological side of it, that I bring to the club, that I bring to the group of players in protecting them. And we have a siege mentality going into the next game.
Thanks, Keith. Best of luck.
Take care. Thank you.
Keith, could you just bring us up to date with the situation with Jay Spearing after he hobbled off at the weekend?
Well, he's being assessed. He's very doubtful for the weekend, but we're sure that it's not going to be a long term. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to put ourselves in a situation where we're rushing him to play on Saturday and then missing him for the next 6 games. So while we want our best team out on the pitch and our strongest spine, I think we've got to be sensible as well with the approach with all the players. And we will have a second conversation with Jay and the medical staff, and we'll come up with the right decision for Jay, for the team, and for the future games that we've got left in this season.
What was it, a hamstring issue?
Yes.
Okay. You brought Manny Monte back into the side against Cambridge. I had a good game. Was that just a move you decided to go with? Because obviously George Ray had played a few games on the run. Was it just a move to try and freshen things up after the disappointing result at Cheltenham?
I think it was a combination of everything. As a manager, you don't tend to, and you can't make knee-jerk reactions. I think if there's stability in a team, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking to build success off stability. I think if you're a manager who keeps changing, you're searching, you don't know what you want. I do know what we want. I do know what we need. And I thought it was the right time to make the change.
Obviously, this season is unique and it's dynamic. No supporters in the ground. People are watching on laptops. I'm interviewing on a laptop. It's all a bit strange, isn't it? And supporters obviously have got a bit of frustration that in an ordinary sense, they're going to football games, they're cheering the fans on, and when results don't go the way, it recreates those sort of emotions that you normally share with your friends on the terraces. Do you have any sort of a bit of sympathy with the restrictions that are placed on the fan base at the moment in that respect?
I do, 100%. We need the supporters in the stadium. That's why we are professional. We have supporters. The Cop End. On Monday, we might have got the second goal just because. Listen, when players are fatigued, when they're fatigued, and they do get fatigued, and it's been a condensed season, condensed pre-season, they need that inspiration. They need that extra energy, that 12th man, and that's the Cop End. But I am really frustrated myself from a supporter's point of view, because they've done everything they can to support the football club. And during the course of this year and the pandemic, they've seen the club suffer, and they've suffered as a consequence. But I've always reiterated that the lifeblood of any football club is the supporters. So everything that I'm doing, everything the players are doing, we're doing on behalf of the supporters, and they've been magnificent. And they do deserve to get back into the stadium and stadiums up and down the country. But it's important that we do it when there's safety, 100% guaranteed. But the supporters, they've been magnificent. And it was only a couple of 3 weeks ago when I was, driving into the stadium. We was playing Exeter, and a supporter was waiting at the side of the gates as I was coming in my car, and he wanted me to sign the Wembley programme. And it was great to be able to have a distance, socially distanced conversation with him. And, I don't do anything for me. I do everything to protect this football club, this football opportunities, and the players' opportunities to express themselves. But the supporter who I'm talking about, he expressed how I'd helped him, during the pandemic, because he'd suffered from depression and he'd suffered with a little bit of online bullying. And I didn't realise that I was doing that. And it's just that small, conversation that I want to have with a lot of supporters. And we need supporters back. But, I'm trying to help the best that I can, everybody. I didn't realise that I was helping with my interviews. I'm just talking, and I talk some, at times. But it was nice to be able to engage in conversation with one specific, supporter. But we do need the supporters. We do need the fans back. And we're trying to do everything that we can to encourage them back. And everything that we're doing is on behalf of the supporters.
The other week, you sort of described Tranmere's push for promotion as like a batsman on 90 trying to get to his century. I mean, with that in mind, in your experience with 7 games to go, is it time to start slugging sixes, or do you need the night watchman in until James Vaughan's back?
Well, you've got to protect your wicket. You've got to be Geoffrey Boycott. Listen, you've got to pick the wrong ball, haven't you? You've got to pick the right ball. You pick the wrong one, you're out. What I would say is, as well as cricket, I feel as though, we got away with 1 or 2, no VAR, if you like, Hawkeye, but we're still in there. We're still in there in the 90s, which is absolutely superb. I think, it's what we've been striving for, but now we can't create a negative pressure. We've got to embrace it. We've got to be 10 men, chests out. Here we are. We are Tranmere. Let's take the world on. Let's take League Two on. And that's what I want to do. I want to protect the players, but I want us to take every game on. But we have to be able to defend as well. Or, we won't reach that 100. But we will do. There's no question about it in my mind. Talking about James Vaughan, do we want him back? 100%. Can we rush him back? No. We've got to make sure that when he comes back, he's in to stay.
Do you think he might be in the stadium when you play Salford in a couple of weeks?
I'm sure he'll be in the stadium.
I think diplomatically, have a kit on.
Well, I don't know 100%. I'm being gauged by James Vaughan. James Vaughan knows his body. And, I've had a chat with him this morning, and he is one of the biggest wind-up merchants I've ever met in football. And, he said 20 minutes at the weekend.